we deal with this? How do we cope with this loss? So we've got moving and exercise, just living day by day. If you just get up and shower and you don't do anything else that day, and this is for confidence and everything else. If you're not feeling yourself, just get up and shower and go back to bed so that you've done something. Be kind to yourself, eat well, get professional support if you need it. Be honest how you feel with your close friends. Don't be frightened of how they will react. Use them as a buffer to say what you're feeling. Remember our loved ones with all good memories. Sleep when you need to and keep to your bedtime routine. Socialize, even if you're not really feeling it, you won't know you're healing. And if you notice, all of these are part of the 4 defenders. So you've got exercise in there, you've got eating well in there, you've got sleeping well, and you've got the socialization, which all need to be natural habits. Because one of the things that a lot of people say is that the more people they know socially, the quicker they heal, because they're around people that love them. And the key to this is supporting one another. So there are a number of different things we can do to help others, but this is what we can do for ourselves. Is there anything on this page that other people have done for themselves to cope with some sort of loss that I've not got on here? Has anybody put anything in the chat maybe that they have been able to do?
I'll keep an eye on the chat and I'll feed it back to you, because obviously it takes time for people to type in.
Yes,
I've got
nothing
to add to that. I think it's quite a useful list, actually, and quite a useful way of reminding ourselves to take care of ourselves.
Yes, very much so. Okay, so so helping others is just as important, and this is really what my mission is to try and help everybody to open up about grief and to really support one another. So some of the things we can do is just listen, but don't stop the emotions. So if you've got a friend who's going through a really rough time, just sit with them, just listen. Don't stop the tears, because that emotion needs to come out. But one of the things I say, it's the love for that person coming out of their eyes. So it needs to come out, but it's an indication of how much they love that person. So those tears need to happen. So that's a really good thing. But sometimes just being there, being present, but not saying anything can be really comforting. You've also got hugs. Hugs are amazing for all of us. We all love a good hug. They convey so much support to others who are going through those circumstances.
I read something the other day that said we needed 8 hugs a day. I'm all for that.
Yeah, which I think we do need, because we're social creatures. We need that social interaction, basically.
There's something comforting, isn't there, in that sort of embrace?
Very much so. So that you've got the next one is get them out for a walk in nature and remind them of the beauty in the world they may have forgotten. Point out the trees, point out the birds, listen to what's going on around you. Take them away from that trauma that they're in, and really open up what they might need to just hear. Still see the beauty in the world, because we can lose that when we've gone through loss very easily. Take them some food, even if it's a Kit Kat. They may be missing that personal attention from somebody, or from someone who's no longer here, or from a relationship they used to have. They might have had a certain food. So we all have our favorite foods, and we know that can be comforting. So sometimes it's a good idea just to go and take somebody some food and sit with them, or maybe invite them out to lunch, because it's very lonely when you're on your own sometimes, and sometimes you just need some company. You can also start a new hobby with that person. That can be a really good thing to do together, because that will build your relationship, and it's a distraction as well. Because I don't know if anybody watches Strictly, but there was a lady on there called Annabelle Croft, and she lost her husband a year to 18 months ago. She took up the dancing on Strictly, and her light has come back completely. She's starting to feel like her again. So sometimes having a new distraction, new hobby can really help.
We've got a couple of messages that have come in as well.
Okay.
One saying very much what you were saying about trying to remember the good things, and another one saying clients, this person works on wills and things like that.
Okay.
So clients like to talk about the deceased without them feeling that they are putting people in awkward position.
Yes.
And I think giving people that space to just talk is so important. That's such a wonderful thing that this person's doing, because that's creating, an amazing space, isn't it?
It is, and that's a very difficult subject to talk about, because that's sort of being realistic with yourself about what's happening, and that can be a really, really quite grounding thing to do, and actually can pull you up quite short sometimes about what you might do or might not do, and that's really hard sometimes. So yeah, that's an amazing job she's doing, because you do need a safe space to do that, and that's a difficult to create a safe space when you're doing things like that. That's amazing. So the other thing is just send them a message or give them a call to say you're thinking of them. So if this was applied to you and you were going through some sort of trauma, be it loss of identity, loss of confidence, loss of pet, or loss of a family member, what would you actually want somebody to do for you? What would give you comfort?
Do you know what? I think it's the connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people actually reaching out and connecting, because that just is incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant.
It means you're in their mind.
Yes. Yeah. And also, what we might want, somebody else, it would give us a starting point, because it's very difficult when you've got somebody going through trouble, you don't always know what to do.
Yeah.
So maybe if you know them quite well, what you would like, they might be all right with as well, because they know you. So that's a starting point for going and saying to somebody, I'm here, but use what you would use for you. So that can be really helpful. So what we do need to remember is a lot of these losses lead to new beginnings or do-overs, or a chance to be a new you if you're brave enough. Take courage, put your defenders in place, and face losses head on. You'll be a loss or grief warrior in no time, with memories as your armor, love as your shield, and a spear of courage. I run a loss cafe. If anybody is interested in just talking to me about any sort of loss and they just want to get it out from their head, out from their hearts, so it's out elsewhere and not in their heads, I will be available on my email. You can then book a space with me once you come to my email. But I do this so that people can just talk, because sometimes when people are on their own, they want to talk about somebody, but their friends are all bored or sick to the back teeth of hearing it, or they glaze over and you know that they've had enough. I'm always here. I've always got ears, and I will create a safe space for you just to talk to me about somebody or something that's happened if you need it. Because sometimes family are great, but they can start talking. Sometimes we just need a pair of ears. So thank you for listening to me all. Thank you all for listening to me. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Go and make precious memories with people who are really important to us. Make the world a better place to live. We all need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, because I think, you know, I just think it's an amazing thing. And I've just written in the messages and on Facebook that the Lost Cafe is just an amazing idea.
Thank you.
Just that space,
yeah,
you know, where it's okay to chat and have that conversation is incredible, because it also helps build a connection to that person or thing that you've lost, doesn't it?
Very much so. And it's to get our emotions so we can get a handle on them and accept them and notice what's happening, so that we can cope with them and move forward. Because like we said earlier, we need to be able to cope with them so they don't damage us mentally and physically more.
Yeah. I think the more we hold these things in, the more damage they do. We know that, don't we? We know that hugely. And when it comes to, you know, linking this into why we're doing this in the menopause group, we're of that age where there's so much coming at us, where loss is something that we're experiencing personally in terms of within ourselves.
Oh, very much so.
Within our circle of family and things like that. And it's something that we struggle to talk about. So thank you so much for coming in the group and doing this today.
Thank you for having me on your group.